Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and as you can see, the DCU Lantern show is now confirmed to have not one but two timelines. So we're going into the past. The past is 2016, by the way, and now 2026. There's going to be two mysteries, apparently, one from the past, one in the present. But we also have confirmation that no other lanterns apparently appear in this, except they forgot that Guy Gardner appears. And then they kind of backtrack and tell us, oh, none of the alien ones appear. Which is like, okay, but you've already been kind of hinting at all of these different things. Like, your poster says there can basically only be one bearer of the ring. Yet the trailer shows us that there's two. There's Hal Jordan, and then there's his little protege, who's Jon Stewart, who could possibly be getting the ring, and they're sharing the ring, so it makes no sense. But we shall die. By the way, this article, they've dropped three new images. One of them is something we haven't seen before, but that, like, you've seen this one, but I'll leave that there for me. Actually, this is the one that you haven't really seen, so I'll leave that there for a second while I read through this. So the Lantern's timeline theory is looking a lot stronger. EW has released new images from HBO's Lanterns and spoke with showrunner Chris Mundy, who confirms the DCU series will unfold across two timelines. That backs up what was previously pointed out after going through the footage of the trailer, that is, of course. Parts of Lanterns looked like they were set in the past. The cars, the small town setting, and the grounded look of the footage all suggested something was off with the timeline. Now, Mundy confirms the story begins in 2016 and also jumps ahead 10 years to 2026. Now, the thing to keep in mind with that is the fact that we have the rumor, and everything is pointing to it, that, spoiler I suppose, but Hal Jordan dies in this. So everything seems to be confirming that that will happen. And now that they're saying 2016 is how the show starts, where we see Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan together, and then there's 2026 where there's a new mystery, and I bet you anything that other part of that mystery is who killed Hal Jordan. So it's just one of those things where you're like, okay. So according to EW, Lanterns begins in 2016 with a shooting in Rushville, Nebraska. Hal Jordan, played by Cal Chandler, has apparently been keeping tabs on the town from afar and believes the incident has alien ties. Kelly MacDonald plays Sheriff Kerry, who isn't convinced there is anything extraterrestrial going on. Now, the part I'm wondering about that is the 2016 setting. We know that Suicide Squad is obviously a part of the canon, so that type of alien stuff should be there. So why is she not exactly kind of going with the idea that it's extraterrestrial? So Mundy describes the tension as a jurisdiction issue, but not the usual FBI versus local cops setup. This time it's the Green Lantern's corps dealing with a local sheriff. Which is funny because there's only two of them, like, in the corps, so it's like, okay, it's not really the Green Lantern corps then, is it? So this fits the true detective style approach DC Studios and HBO have been pushing since the start. Lanterns is still about Green Lanterns, but the first season is built around an Earth-based mystery rather than a full cosmic spectacle. Mundy confirms Lanterns has two timelines. So that's where you're kind of seeing and hearing that it has two timelines, and there's all this mystery, and it seems to be extraterrestrial and stuff, and yet we don't get any other of the corps except, of course, Guy Gardner. So I think that's interesting, which then, of course, brings us to where he says no other lanterns show up. So Well, Mundy puts it as this: it's the old guard and their heir apparent. We lean into the tension quite a bit in that early period. Something else for the 2026 timeline is teased. He added, that becomes a second mystery that we know is down the road for us. So eventually, two different mysteries get together to work out over the course of the show. I think that's interesting the way he says that, because when he says eventually the two different mysteries, blah blah blah, and it's what we're going to have down the road, that sounded like the mystery wasn't going to get solved in this, and they were going to save it for a second season. So the dueling timelines create emotional mysteries, and like True Detective, it was less of a whodunit as much as like what happened and why. We think of this as a relationship show between John and Hal, and there's a lot to unpack over the course of the 8 episodes. So you're hearing there, that's where he's talking about the idea of it's not exactly a murder mystery as much as it is just the two characters kind of unpacking all their crap together. But here's where he talks about the other Lantern. So it says, however, while the fabulously obnoxious Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, appears a few different times, Mundy confirmed that we won't see any alien members of the Green Lantern Corps. So he said, there are a bunch of other people from the mythology, from the canon, but not the other Lanterns. We talked about them at different times, but they're not going to interact with them in the course of the season. So that is where he is flat out saying that no, other than Guy Gardner, no other Corps members are showing up. That's one of them. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It definitely removes the space police force thing that they were touting this thing as. So that definitely seems to be gone. That it is going to be solely set on Earth in this small town. As I said, they're saying 2 mysteries, one in 2016, one in 2026. I guarantee you the one in 2026 is who killed Hal Jordan. I guarantee you that's what that'll be. But overall, like, by the way, the trailer for this still hasn't been put back up. It got taken down because of copyright. It went back up for a short time and was pulled again, but it turns out Warner Brothers and James Gunn weren't the ones that put it up. Apparently it was a fan account that put it back up. But yeah, the trailer still hasn't been put back up. By the way, when I say put back up, I mean on the official DC and Warner Brothers and HBO YouTube page. You can find it other places, but it's interesting that it still hasn't been put back up. But what do you guys think? Are you surprised to find out that there's not one but 2 timelines in this? That there's going to be no alien Green Lantern Corps members showing up in this, and that there's going to be 2 mysteries? And with that, do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.